Wow, episode 12 definitely started off with a bang, and we are going to talk about it. Now we know the two weddings, the two couples that actually went through with the entire I do, and we're definitely going to talk about it. I wasn't originally, only because it was just season was really a dumpster fire, and in a dumpster fire, you're kind of wondering what flowers are going to bloom from a dumpster fire. You just don't know. So it looks like we have two flowers that bloom from a dumpster fire. One is hydrangeas, and I love me hydrangeas. And the other one is kind of like roses, pretty but also prickly. Prickly, prickly. You know what I mean? And also a plant that died. And that's Ramses and Maurissa. Let's get into it. So that was the banger that opened up the entire episode. And I'm really happy that editing got their stuff together and finally allowed us in an argument, because the entire season we had no idea of the conversations, some of the conversations that were had with the couples, because the editing team would show us the conversation after they had the argument. But I love the fact that the editing team and the cameraman kind of walked us through in the entire Maurissa and Ramses argument. I don't know if that was something that was edited now in the last few weeks because of all of the comments and feedback from people are watching from the show, or it was this something that was already edited last year and it was already approved. I honestly think that this entire episode is totally different from the rest. Like, the editing style from this episode is totally different from the other episodes. And I do think the 11 episodes prior did not have we didn't see any argument. We just saw it, like I said, the conversations after. So let's go through the entire Ramses and Maurissa. So we were left off with Ramses actually he was between a rock and a hard place. It was on the fence, trying to figure out if it would still be right for him to continue on with this relationship. And so we started off there in that same position, and Marissa's get completely distraught. Because here's the thing, Maurissa is right when it comes to this. The entire time, we see Maurissa and Ramses on the same page on when it comes to everything. And they are very open, even though, the conversations have been quite difficult. And it's quite clear, which we'll talk about, they are polar opposites in some arenas. They're really open with their communication. So it's not like, they weren't aware with everything that's been going on, because honestly, they've been quite aware with everything that has been going on. So because they're so open with each other. So Maurissa is right in the sense that it's now all of a sudden Ramses is now wanting to pull back, and there hasn't been conversations or even kind of a glimpse into him feeling this way this entire time up until today. So we see Ramses going, you know what, I have hesitations on saying I do to you, which is quite interesting. I'm going to deviate out again, because in the past seasons of Love is Blind, we don't really see couples really share their opinions about if they're going to say I do or if they're going to say I don't. Most of the seasons of Love is Blind, in season 1 to season 6, a lot of the people in the couples reserved their feelings and reserved their decision until the altar day. But in the last 2 seasons, including this season, we're seeing for the first time couples really exploring openly and conversationally about their decision of saying I do, and actually being honest with that decision. And it does seem like in the past seasons, Netflix has really been making sure that couples do reach the altar, even if they're gonna say I don't. Even though they're gonna say I don't, they were really good at making sure that the couples come to the altar and say their answer, even if it's I don't. So in this season, we don't really see that. We see couples making their reactions, making their decision before the altar, and deciding on what they want to do before the altar, which is fascinating because in past seasons, we don't really get that from couples. So Ramses is saying that he doesn't want to really continue. And he hasn't really fleshed things out because, like, it's quite clear Marissa is getting quite upset about the answers from Ramses. So it makes sense that he didn't want to flesh it out. Hopefully when Marissa is more level-headed, she can be able to hear what he has to say. Because what he's saying makes sense. But Marissa's point is that he hasn't really relayed or conversed about his concerns this entire time. They've had a little concerns about different aspects of who they are and how they're going to blend together and make a future, but they haven't sat down, and he hasn't sat down with Marissa and said, hey, even though I have a disagreement with this, and this, just letting you know, these 3 agreements are gonna make me not want to say I do to you at the altar. So it made sense to me. And Marissa's valid in her feeling the way she's feeling, in the sense that, where are these feelings coming from? Because it really does come out of the blue. Because they really do. They're a couple who really talk about everything. So Ramses is coming to this conclusion that he may not be the right fit for Marissa for several reasons. And we'll go through it. Reason number 1, he's had conversations with his family and with his friends about the disagreements that him and Marissa have been having in regards to them getting married. And that's great. And I think that's really good. A lot of people say that, oh, it's not good to really have conversations with the people that you're married, that you're, it's not good to have conversations with your family members and your friends about your own relationship, your romantic relationship or whatever relationship. I think that's good, especially when you can't think at things at large or at a glance. If you're in it and your feelings are in it, it's really hard for you to step back and say, hey, you know what? I'm seeing some cracks. And these are not just like cracks in the wall. These are cracks in the foundation. And that if these cracks remain, it will widen and deepen and the foundation will crumble. So his friends or family are hearing the concerns that Ramses and Marissa has had in regards to certain things. And his friends or family are saying, you know what? It may not be best for you guys to get married at this time. And you know, obviously we see that, you know, they didn't go to the altar. So for me, I think Ramses did a good job of getting that outside perspective. And Marissa replies and says, you know, you shouldn't have of course you got the outside perspective. Of course you got, people chiming into you in your ear. But I think it's good because nobody is really seeing, none of them are seeing what we're seeing. So Ramses is contemplating with what his friends and family are telling him. And then you have what's happening with his own feelings. So it looks like he hasn't been really honest with Marissa about how he feels about her. I've noticed this from the beginning. Marissa is a very bubbly person. Like, she is like a person who's had 5 shots of vitamin C, and I love that about her. And I really do think she'll be an amazing friend and an amazing partner. There's only a certain type of man who can handle that at all hours of the day. And I'm not saying you can't just be that person. You're not capable of being that person. Or not all people, not every single man is able to, handle that. But, and I'm not saying that's bad. Like, it's not bad to be a bubbly person, but that's who she is. She's like very like bubbly, very charismatic. Like, when I saw her, she's like a cartoon character. And so it's like me calling, like, people have said I'm a cartoon character or a version or a caricature of one. So it's like the kettle calling the kettle black. So I get it. I see it in her, but she's like, I feel like she's like me, but 10 times. I love that. However, I knew that Ramses is not like that. Like, Marissa's like, woo! And Ramses is like, let's go with the flow, dude. Let's go with the flow. So I'm surprised that Ramsey and Marissa kind of meshed together, because in my professional opinion, it didn't really seem like, professional opinion, as a viewer, as a consumer, it didn't seem like they were going to work when they left the pod. But it seems like Ramses love how bubbly and charismatic she is. And I didn't really see that on his face, to be quite honest. But you can see it the way he touches her, the way he looks at her. but his facial expressions sometimes are not receiving that. So basically, that's the second reason why I think he wants to break up with her, is because he doesn't like how, like, he's a very like chill, laid back person, and she's very not. And she said that she goes, you know, I can work with you too. Like, if you want to lay on the couch and just watch TV, I can do that, because Marissa's probably like, let's do this and let's do that, let's do this. And Ramses is like, let me just chill. So it makes a lot of sense that Ramses is saying this, but however, Ramses was not honest about this from the very beginning to Marissa. You know, if this was an issue, he should have raised it. And that's why Marissa is so hurt, because she's had, like, it seems like some of the men in her past have stopped or broken up with her, and has stopped loving her because basically she's too much for them. So basically Ramses is saying again, you're too much for me. And Ramses is basically saying, Ramses says out loud, Ramses says in a sentence that it's not you, but it's me. But his reasons is blaming her, right? Like, he actually is blaming her. And it's not Marissa's fault. Like, Marissa is who she is. You can't change Marissa, and you can't change Ramses. They're very set in their ways. And that's why I was like kind of shocked that they meshed together, because their personality, they're totally different personalities, what I'm trying to say. So I thought Ramses were just used to Marissa's like vibe, but it looks like after a while, when you come back to reality after vacation, it's like, the vibe's too much. And that is kind of rude to hear. And I understand why that would break Marissa, because especially if she has trauma with past guys and past relationships where guys are telling her, you're too much for me, I can't handle this, I need you to be here and you're on level 10. And that's kind of really demeaning and quite rude, and it puts her down. And it's quite clear that no man has ever been man enough to handle her. To me, I think it's rude to tell a woman, like, you're too much for me. You know, I think different people have different personalities, and people are very compatible different ways and different chemistry and things like that. But to say somebody like, you're too much for me, your vibe's too much for me, that's rude. And you're saying that, like, it's really rude and mean. Basically saying, like, your vibe, like Marissa said, her vibe, her essence is not enough for Ramses. So it's so much going on in this conversation, and that's why I wanted to really dissect it, because there's so many points here. Number one, he's like, Ramses is finally seeing what we're seeing, like all of the agreements about having kids and about his, you know, thoughts and opinions and convictions about the military. All of these things are coming together through the perspective of his friends and family. The second issue is Ramses is actually being honest, which I knew from the beginning. I got it from the beginning. You know, to me, it made sense for a person to be, and sometimes it does work. Like, people who are, you know, quote unquote, very bubbly or cartoon characters, or characters are cartoon characters, sometimes they don't need to be with a person who's just like that. Like, and that's why it balanced each other's out. And I thought it would be the same way for Ramses and Marissa. It kind of attracts them together, or in a lot of cases, it repels them. So it's kind of like chemistry, like two positives, like two negatives, like, oh God, like when you repel, yeah, I know what I mean. So that's basically what he's saying. And then the third thing is, he's saying that a lot of the cracks that we're seeing cannot be repaired. They've lived together, they've talked and talked and talked, and they don't see themselves changing anytime from now until whenever. And that's why Ramses is like, I am who I am, you are who you are. It doesn't make any sense for us to blend lives at this moment, because we will hurt each other. And I'm so happy they have this difficult conversation now, and not after both of them says I do. Because I do think that both of them is not living in reality. And I think both of them are now living a reality. I will say this, it's really hard talking about reality stars and people who are on reality TV because these are real people. It's not like, fictional characters where you just sit down and you talk about people who are, you will never meet because they are not real. But these are real people. And when Marissa's like breaking down and we can see literally her heart crumble before our eyes, we see that she really did love him, no matter like her faults and things. It's either she really loved him or she loved what she meant to him. What she loved what he meant to her. She loved what he meant to her. And so we can see her heart literally crumble before our eyes. And it was quite heartbreaking till the end where like, I'm like about to have tears for this girl because she's clearly in pain. It comes to the point where she's like, oh my God, I can't breathe. And it's like really, truly heartbreaking. So I'm just, wow. And Ramses is on the verge of tears at the end. And he says it hurts him too, even though, again, Ramses has an amazing poker face. So you really can't tell what he's feeling by his facial expressions. And to me anyway, I don't know about you guys, but we did see that crack when he was about to shed a tear. But I think it was really important for them to have this difficult conversation and hopefully they move forward. I think they would be great friends, maybe. I don't know. But I think Marissa probably is like, okay, here's your ring. I'm going to move out. I'm going to go to mom. When Marissa called her mom, my heart stopped because remember what her mom, do you guys remember what Marissa said? Marissa's mom said, if you hurt my daughter, I will cut off your dingling. At that point, when Marissa was calling her mom, I was fearing for Ramses' life. I was like, boy, I think it's time for you to go. Maybe move to the next state or next country or something. Go somewhere else, boy. So anyways, that ended. Unexpected. I honestly thought they would both go to the altar, and the fact that it ended in this way was, even though it was painful to me, that was a quite healthy way to end things, while they can both process their feelings and talk about it. Even though Marissa was quite distraught, that was really quite hard. But I'm happy that Netflix showed us that scene. Thank you. Next is Ashley and Taylor. I have no thoughts. Number one, they did get married. I have a couple thoughts. They did get married. I'm not a big fan of Ashley's wedding dress. I love Ashley as a person. Like, I do think her wedding dress could have been completely different, in my opinion, to like accentuate her curves. Like, the dress was too, it didn't fit right on her body to me. But it was a pretty dress. I realized when they said I do, when their families were together, I realized that maybe Tyler's version of the story is true. Maybe, he did have an affair with his ex, and he did agree just to give away 3 sperms to create a baby. And those babies became 3 babies. And yes, he does visit them, but he doesn't, she doesn't introduce them as Tyler's father. And maybe he does have exes that he owe money from, like, because the way again, I thought maybe his parents and his friends would give us a glimpse as to who he is, like truly who he is, like what we're seeing right now all over the internet. But like the way they're talking about him is talking about him as like a really great guy. So my prediction is, or a good guy, a good guy who really deserves the world, who's been through a lot and really deserves the world. That's what I take from Tyler's family and friends, which is interesting. So that means that I definitely want to see Tyler's version of the story in the reunion. Do I agree? Do I think Netflix is actually going to do it for us? No. Because the last 2 reunions were, So I do think that Tyler and Ashley are together. Yes. I do think Tyler and Ashley are together and are going through a lot of things right now. They're going through a lot of things, but they're also very happy. They're getting a lot of attack from the world, but I think they're also very happy. When they're like crying to each other, like after they say I do, they're opening the bottle of wine or bottle of water, alcohol. Like, I truly feel happy for them. Because, again, Ashley doesn't know anything about what's going on, because we do. I truly do feel happy for them. And, you know, it looks really sweet. And I really hope that everything that ends up happening everything that they want comes true. I really do. Hopefully they find happiness and bliss with each other. And hopefully they make each other a better person. And that's exactly how I feel when it comes to Garrett and Taylor. I hate Taylor's dress. What happened to the dress that we saw in the wedding try-on video episode? The long version of that dress was beautiful. I don't know why she cut it. I don't know why she put a slit. I hated the dress. I don't know what to tell you. I hated the dress. It did not, like, let me tell you. Taylor's outfits were banging, were fire. Taylor's regular outfits were better than her wedding dress. I'm sorry, and I love Taylor. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Okay. Sorry. So yeah, really happy for Garrett and Taylor. I think they're cute. It looks like Garrett probably has a glow up because of her. I think Taylor is styling her because, like I said, Taylor has style. So Taylor is styling Garrett. And I think that's why he has like a little glow up moment right now on TikTok that we're seeing through the videos. As of right now, that's where I think I stand. So predictions, and I will do a video after the reunion. Predictions. Prediction number 1. Ashley and Tyler are still together. Prediction number 2. Ramses and Marissa are friends. Prediction number 3. Or they tried to date, but they're not anymore. Prediction number 3. Garrett and Taylor are still together. So those are my predictions. Let me know what you guys think. It was definitely an interesting episode. I think the first part we needed to see like the full ending of Marissa and Ramses. I'm happy that Netflix showed that. We really needed to see that argument fully fleshed out. Even though it fully wasn't fleshed out, but I do think Marissa in the future, few months down the line, would have been happy and realize that they're not meant to be together. They're both people who have chemistry and have some things in line, but when it comes to the most important things, I don't think they have the most important things in line. I don't think they're on the same page when it comes to the most important things. So that's my thoughts on episode 12, the wedding episode of Love is Blind. So we got 2 weddings from the dumpster fire, or 2 flowers from the dumpster fire that is season 7. And I'll see you guys next week for next episode in the series, for episode 13. For the reunion, I have no hopes. And I'm probably going to be screaming at the screen to, Nick Lachey and his wife. Because they never go through and talk about and ask questions about the deep things. If they're going to bring previous Love is Blind people, please have them ask serious questions, please. Thank you so much. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe. Oh yeah, subscribe, like, comment, all that jazz. I didn't even do all that today. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.